Untame yourself. Spend time in the wild. Your journal can get you there. Untangle the vines from your lips, cords that suffocate sound and understanding. Uncoil the restraints from your fingers that threaten stillness. You need them to move. Upset the stillness, rattle the quiet, let wild injure the familiar. It won't hurt, it will heal. Rush bravery down your arm, unleash your voice. Through your pen, claim the page. This is a call to journal. Guideline 3, set your shy pen free. Your fears are feeding your resistance. What if you could plow through resistance? What if you dropped every facade and purely became yourself? Untame yourself. I am untidy and unabashedly blemished in my journal. I write with raw expression, wild and free. I do not uphold rules about grammar or content. I say what I wish, the way I wish to say it. This style of journaling unbinds my interior voice, so we can come through purely and vulnerably wise and revealing. Every morning I journal wild. So I'm reading from my book, but this is the premise of wild journaling, is that you untame your pen. And when you do that, it means that you untame your voice. Your voice is held back by things it's learned that you are, as opposed to feeling and knowing who you are. Reading. Wild is W, writing, journaling. I, using your imagination to visualize. L, listening and paying attention to your internal voice, your interior voice. D, declaring, deciding. You used to be raw, remember? You were wild before you got tamed, no different than the rest of us. We all get programmed by our environments, educated into society's standards. We learn the ropes of adulthood from the decided authorities, the media, statistics, Miss Johnson, your 8th grade humanities teacher, your mama, the popular girl who drove the convertible BMW in 11th grade, the Kardashian with the big paycheck, and Oprah, of course. Clearly, some of the sources that tamed us could be strained through better discretion, as also could some of the thoughts and beliefs that we've let tame us. Your mind was massively porous from the time you were a toddler through grade school. During those formative years, you went through a refinement process. Kicking and wailing got replaced by learning to use the magic word to get what you wanted. Please. And even though it took 45 failed attempts, you were taught to take turns when interacting with others. However, you were also taught what to think to be practical, what to do to be logical, and who you needed to become to be acceptable. You were once wild and ferociously curious. Even if you can't remember sticking everything in your mouth to taste for meaning, you did investigative stuff like that. Before you were tamed, you were decisive about what you didn't like without needing anyone else to validate your choices. Recall pursing your lips to block the second spoonful of those overcooked peas. Recall the scream and slobber fest that got you out of that crib and into a warm lap. You were but a foot long, yet unapologetically game about doing what you needed to do to get to a better feeling state. Sure, you were simpler at 15 months old. At 9 years old, too. You hadn't become as mysterious as you are now. You hadn't been exposed to reputation, obligation, or limitation yet. You hadn't learned that some of the stuff you wanted to be was out of your reach, or that the family you were born into limited your options, that some folks got privileges, others didn't. You hadn't learned that age, looks, and proper education would determine what you could do, be, or have. Becoming tamed happens slowly. There's no one to blame, really. The big folks, babysitters, and teachers in charge did what was needed to get you ready for society. They weaned you off dangerous sports like eating the electrical socket with the metal fork and completing the Sharpie Picasso you started scribbling into grandmama's tablecloth. Most taming was necessary. Conclusions you've drawn about life have also tamed you. Some of those conclusions have steered you away from your natural inclinations. When you were raw and pure, you might have loved talking about your curiosities till you learned you ought to shut up because you're nothing but annoying. So now you don't posit questions even when you don't understand or don't agree with something. You might have been tamed to follow your family's push to pursue a medical profession, though you've been a natural dancer since the day you first heard music. Your armoire might hold all your bow ties and starched suits, though as a young boy you longed to paint your nails yellow and wear purple tights. You might have the most beautiful smile, but you were warned that girls who smile too much aren't taken seriously. Or, like me, you might have seen your bachelor father taste from a buffet of lady friends, barely 8 years older than you. No wonder I got tamed into thinking men 20 years my senior were attractive. Or, like me, maybe you were raised never to boast. Stay humble or you'll fall and embarrass yourself. So, like me, you're tamed to reject compliments. Or maybe you continually enroll in classes for certifications because you're tamed to believe you're still not adequately prepared to step into your goals. I was tamed to feel that way. And also, like I did, you might hide your body because it's fat and overly sexualized. I was tamed to believe people would either joke about my chubbiness or men would think I was easy if I wore revealing clothes. I have journaled wild to overcome these unsupportive programs. You can too. And by the way, I'm not reading right now. I have overcome those programs from journaling. And then I write this, by the way. If you ever want to boast, it's okay in my company. I'd love to hear your good news. I'm all ears for your bravery and fortitude. I have certainly stopped hanging my head low just so others won't get offended by my triumphs. I've decided to feel good whenever I choose, the way I choose. You are free to do the same. Can I get an amen? Reading from my book, Beyond Words, Finding Fulfillment Between the Lines. And this whole idea of untaming yourself and untaming your voice is that you will get to that paper with no rules. And I actually go through the wild abandon, which is that you abandon the rules. And I go through that in the book following that chapter, Untame Yourself. I'm Michelle Bernard, the author. Available on Amazon in Kindle and Soft.
Nobody told me I had lipstick on my nose. I might make it a style.